Every single day, millions of people wake up with dreams, dreams of success, dreams of freedom, dreams of becoming something more than what they are today. But here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Dreams don't separate winners from everyone else. Habits do. Because the difference between the person who talks about success and the person who achieves it is what they do every single day when nobody's watching. It's the quiet mornings, the discipline when motivation disappears, the small choices repeated over and over again. History proves this again and again. Athletes who train before sunrise, entrepreneurs who fail dozens of times before succeeding, leaders who keep going when everyone else quits. They don't win because they are lucky. They win because they built habits that most people refuse to build. Today, we're going to break down 3 habits that separate winners from everyone else. And if you understand these habits and more importantly, live them, your life will never be the same. Most people spend their lives chasing comfort. They wake up and ask themselves a simple question: what do I feel like doing today? And if the answer is nothing, they stay where they are. They delay the work. They postpone the dream. They promise themselves they'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And before they know it, years have passed and nothing has changed. Winners live by a different rule. They don't ask what they feel like doing. They ask what needs to be done. And then they do it even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when every part of their mind tells them to stop. Because winners understand something that most people never truly accept. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Think about it for a moment. Every meaningful achievement in life requires stepping into discomfort. Building a business requires long nights when everyone else is sleeping. Getting in shape requires pushing through pain when your body wants to quit. Mastering a skill requires thousands of hours of practice when progress feels painfully slow. Most people avoid those moments. They avoid the early mornings. They avoid the difficult conversations. They avoid the extra effort. And that's exactly why they stay average. But winners lean into those moments. They train themselves to move toward the challenge instead of away from it. Look at the story of Kobe Bryant. While other players were sleeping, he was already in the gym. At 4 a.m, the lights were on, the court was empty, and he was practicing the same shot again and again. That just, not because someone forced him to, because he understood that greatness is built in the hours that nobody sees. There's a story about a trainer who worked with him during the off season. The trainer arrived early one morning expecting to start the workout, but Kobe was already there, drenched in sweat, having completed a full training session before the trainer even showed up. That's the difference. Most people wait until it's convenient. Winners show up before the opportunity even arrives. Psychologists often talk about something called delayed gratification, the ability to resist short-term pleasure in order to achieve long-term success. Studies have shown that people who master this skill tend to perform better in school, build stronger careers, and achieve higher levels of success over time. But the truth is, delayed gratification isn't just a theory. It's a daily decision. It's choosing to study when your friends are relaxing, choosing to work when distractions are everywhere, choosing to keep going when progress feels invisible. And those choices repeated day after day slowly shape the person you become. Because habits don't just build success. They build identity. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are casting a vote for the person you want to be. Every time you push through resistance, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than your excuses. And over time, those small victories compound. One early morning turns into a routine. One extra hour of effort turns into mastery. One difficult step becomes the foundation for a completely different life. The truth is, success rarely comes from one big moment. It comes from hundreds of quiet decisions where you choose the harder path. While others avoid the struggle, winners step directly into it. Because they know something powerful. The things most people run away from are the very things that create extraordinary lives. The discipline, the sacrifice, the relentless effort. These are not punishments. They are the price of becoming someone stronger, someone better, someone capable of achieving the life most people only dream about. And the moment you stop avoiding the hard path is the moment your life begins to change. Time is the one thing every human being on this planet receives equally. Every morning the clock resets and gives you 24 hours. Not more for the rich, not less for the poor. The same 24 hours for the successful and for the ones still searching for their breakthrough. Yet somehow, some people build incredible lives while others remain stuck in the same place year after year. The difference is not talent. It is not luck. It is how they treat their time. Most people spend their days reacting to everything around them. Notifications, messages, endless scrolling, distractions, pulling them in every direction. Hours disappear without them even realizing it. One video becomes 10 minutes become 2 hours, and by the end of the day, they feel busy but accomplish nothing that truly moves their life forward. Winners understand something powerful. Time is not just a resource. It is life itself. Every hour wasted is a piece of your future quietly slipping away. Every day spent without purpose is a day you will never get back. That realization changes the way winners approach their lives. They become intentional with their time because they understand that their dreams depend on it. Think about the most successful people in any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders, creators. They don't simply work harder, they work with focus. Their days are structured around what truly matters. They wake up with a plan, a direction, a clear understanding of what needs to be done. Instead of asking, what should I do today? They already know the answer because their priorities are decided before the distractions appear. Imagine two people starting the same day with the same 24 hours. One wakes up and checks their phone immediately. Minutes turn into hours scrolling through other people's lives, reacting to news, responding to every notification. The day fills with random tasks and interruptions. By nightfall, they are exhausted, but their goals remain untouched. The other person wakes up with intention. They protect the first hours of the day for growth, learning, and progress. They eliminate distractions. They focus on the few actions that truly move them closer to their vision. By the end of the day, they may have completed only a handful of tasks, but those tasks actually change something. Over time, those focus days begin to compound. 3 productive hours every day becomes over 1,000 hours in a single year. 1,000 hours spent building a skill, improving your body, growing a business, or mastering a craft. That is the P. Or of protecting your time. Winners understand that every yes to a distraction is a no to their future. Every unnecessary commitment steals energy from the things that truly matter. So they become selective. They guard their schedule. They learn to say no to what is easy so they can say yes to what is important because they realize something most people ignore. The life you want will not appear by accident. It will be built through focused hours, disciplined days, and intentional choices. And the moment you start treating your time like your life depends on it, everything begins to change. Your focus sharpens, your priorities become clear, and slowly, day by day, hour by hour, you begin to build the future that once felt impossible. Failure has a way of shaking people. One setback, one mistake, one moment where things fall apart, and suddenly doubt begins to whisper in their minds. It tells them they're not good enough, not talented enough, not meant for something bigger. And for many people, that voice becomes the end of the story. They try once, maybe twice, and when it doesn't work out, they step back and convince themselves that the dream was never realistic in the first place. But winners hear that same voice and respond differently. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the path to it. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has walked through moments where nothing worked. Businesses collapsed, opportunities disappeared, plans fell apart. Those moments hurt. They test confidence, patience, and belief. But winners refuse to let those moments define who they are. Instead, they choose to learn from them. Think about someone learning to walk as a child. They fall again and again. If falling meant the end, none of us would ever take our first steps. But a child doesn't see failure the way adults do. They simply get back up again and again until one day the steps become steady. Somewhere along the way, many people lose that mindset. They begin to believe that falling means they should stop trying. Winners refuse to accept that belief. They see every setback as information, every mistake as a lesson, every rejection as proof that they are at least in the arena taking action while others sit safely on the sidelines. History is filled with examples of people who could have quit after failure but didn't, inventors who tested thousands of ideas before finding the one that worked, athletes who lost games before becoming champions, creators who were rejected countless times before their work was finally recognized. What separates them is not perfection, it is persistence. They understand that the journey will include struggle, doubt, and moments where progress feels invisible. But instead of allowing failure to become their identity, they turn it into fuel. They use the disappointment as motivation. They study what went wrong. They return stronger, wiser, more prepared than before. And over time, those failures stop looking like defeats. They start looking like stepping stones, because every setback carries a hidden gift. The chance to grow, to adapt, and to become stronger than you were before. The truth is, failure only becomes permanent when you decide to stop moving forward. But the moment you stand back up, learn the lesson, and take another step, failure loses its power. And that is the moment you begin to separate yourself from everyone else. At the end of the day, the gap between winners and everyone else is not as mysterious as people think. It isn't about being born with extraordinary talent. It isn't about luck, perfect timing, or having the easiest path. It comes down to the choices you make every single day. Winners do the work that others avoid. They protect their time like their future depends on it. And when failure shows up, they refuse to let it define them. These habits are not glamorous. They are not always exciting. Most of the time, they are quiet, difficult, and invisible to the outside world. But over weeks, months, and years, they begin to shape a different kind of person. A person who keeps going when things get hard. A person who stays focused when distractions appear. A person who turns obstacles into stepping stones instead of excuses. And that is how extraordinary lives are built. Not in one moment of greatness, but in thousands of small decisions where you choose discipline over comfort, purpose over distraction, and persistence over fear. So if you're standing at a point in your life where things feel difficult or progress feels slow, remember this: the habits you build today are quietly creating the life you will live tomorrow. Start with one decision, one disciplined action, one step forward. Repeat it every day, and one day you'll look back and realize something powerful. The same habits that once felt hard became the very habits that carried you to the life you once dreamed about.